everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Where Are the Missing? This is a true crime series that I'm going to be doing, and the first episode is of Leah Toby Roberts. I am very passionate about her case. I first saw it on Unsolved Mysteries with Robert Stack. And it just kind of stuck with me for the past 20 some odd years. And yeah, it just, I feel like a sort of a camaraderie with Leah. We're kind of similar in some ways. And this case has just been bugging me for decades. Also, recently I got The Dharma Bums by Jack Kerouac. Jack Kerouac was one of Leah's favorite authors, and I got one of her favorite books. And I've been reading it, and I'm just trying to get inside Leah's head. Like, what is she thinking? What actually happened? Because she's still missing till this day. She's been missing since March 9th, 2000. And she's missing from Bellingham, Washington, in Washington State. And so I'm gonna explain the collage. The first picture you see is Leah with a bob. Then you see Leah with a pixie cut. Then you see Leah with long hair. So you get like three ideas because we don't know if she's passed away or by her own accord or somewhat foul play or she's out there somewhere just living her best life. I hope she's out there living somewhere her best life. I hope we find Leah one day. I really do. There is a Facebook group called Bring Leah Home, Leah Roberts Home. I'm not sure if it's still active, but we'll get into everything because there is a lot. We're gonna go through theories, and everything, but I'm gonna read you all of these things. I'm gonna also put my references in the description box below, and everything. And then after the pictures of Leah, which I said, there's a note from Leah, and I'll read that to you because I have that saved on the iPad. And then you have a picture of the Cheshire Cat, which was one of Leah's favorite characters from Alice in Wonderland. And then you have the supposed guy who took Leah, Barry. And there's been a new theory about Barry, which we'll get into. And actually, we'll just get into it. But the first website I'm on, and I'll put my references down below, is the GINA for Missing Persons Foundation, www.411gina.org. And this is Leah. So the description, classification, endangered, missing. Now, they found her Jeep Cherokee in a ravine. I believe it's a ravine. And it looked like somebody was living inside it. So they don't know if she had a head injury or not. So that's why endangered, missing, or somebody grabbed her, or she has amnesia, just a lot of stuff. Her birthday is July 23rd, 1976. She went missing at the age of 23. Her hair color is sandy blonde, eye color blue, height 5'6". At the time, she weighed 130 pounds. She is a female and her race is Caucasian. Identifying characteristics: Leah has pierced ears, a beauty mark above her right upper lip, and a surgical scar on her right hip. Clothing and jewelry: a white gold diamond ring with an emerald cut diamond and 2 baguettes on the sides. I'm going to spell that because I know I'm butchering it. Baguettes on the sides, and a pair of gold earrings with a small ruby in each one. Circumstances, I think. Roberts regularly reside in, no, that ain't okay, I don't, circumstances. Roberts regularly resides in Raleigh, North Carolina. Her 1993 Jeep Cherokee with North Carolina license plates was located on March 18, 2000, after being involved in an accident on a logging road near Mount Baker, Washington, in a federal park. All of her belongings were located inside. Investigating agencies: Whitcomb County Sheriff's Office. And please, if you have any information at all, if you know what happened to Leah, please. It's important, and I'll have this number in the description. Please, it's important. What if Leah was your sister, cousin, aunt, mom? Wouldn't you want your family member found or know what happened? So please call this number and give them your information about Leah, if you've seen her around or whatever, or if you know something. If you know something, say something. The number is 1-306-778-6600. That number again is 1-360-778-6600. Her case number, police case, is 2000A, not a dash, but one of those things, 4762, NCIC case, M dash, it's a dash, 590606162. You can look her up on NamUs, the Charlie Project, the Doe Network, Facebook, and Wikipedia. And also, if you want, you can print this flyer and put it up. That's what that's saying. Okay. Let me... Alright. Okay. Now I'm going to read what's up. I'm on Wikipedia. So, Leah has been missing for 25 years, 6 months, and 24 days. On March 13th, Leah Roberts, we already know when she was born, left a restaurant in Bellingham, Washington, United States, where she had driven from her home in Durham, North Carolina, over the previous 4 days. There have been no reported sightings of her since. On March 18th, her car was discovered wrecked and abandoned at the bottom of a hill off a road in nearby North Cascades National Park. Several years after her disappearance, police examined the car's starter motor and found that it had been tampered with, indicating the vehicle may have been crashed intentionally. Roberts had left Durham unexpectedly, leaving only rent money and a note for her housemate, suggesting she might return in a few weeks. She said she wanted to take a road trip like that of author Jack Kerouac, whose work she admired. Over the previous decade, she had experienced the deaths of both parents in a car accident that almost took her own life. She dropped out of North Carolina State University a semester short of her graduation. Her older siblings, Keith and Cara recall that she seemed lost and directionless at the point in her life. It does not give the names of her siblings, what I just read, but I know this case, so I said their names. Robert's disappearance has been covered on the television shows Unsolved Mysteries and Disappeared, but few leads have emerged. In the summer of 2005, volunteers from a North Carolina missing person awareness group organized a caravan across the country to raise awareness for her case and others. The caravan has since become an annual event. All right. Background. Leah Toby Roberts was born on July 23, 1976, in the suburbs of Durham, North Carolina. She has a sister, Cara, and a brother, Heath. When Leah was 17, her father was diagnosed with a chronic lung illness. Roberts began college at North Carolina State University in nearby Raleigh, majoring in Spanish and anthropology. During her sophomore year, her mother died suddenly from heart disease. Soon after, in the fall of 1998, Leah was involved in a serious car accident that resulted in a punctured lung and a shattered femur. Surgeons implanted a metal rod next to her femur to help it heal. Leah later told Cara that she felt born again. After the recovery in the spring of the next year, just 3 weeks before she was scheduled to leave for Costa Rica for a field program, Robert's father died. She decided to continue with the program since she was leaving the country and no longer had living parents. Leah granted Cara power of attorney over her bank accounts. This is what Cara said on the Larry King Live. By the time Leah was 22, she had lost both of her parents, and here she is on the verge of graduating from college. And I think she just really felt lost and didn't have a lot of direction, and I feel like she took this trip as a soul-searching trip. And now back to Wikipedia. Against the wishes of her older siblings, Roberts dropped out of NCSU only months before completing her degree. Afterwards, Leah learned to play the guitar, took up photography, and adopted a pet kitten she named Bee. She also began spending time in local coffee houses. Her favorite one was the Cup of Joe. That's not here, but like I said, I know this case. Writing poetry about the meaning of life and making new friends with one, Janine Quiller. I hope I said that right. And with her roommate, Nicole Bennett. Roberts discussed the idea of emulating Beat Generation novelist Jack Kerouac and going on a road trip to the West. Now we get to the disappearance. And this is going to be a long one, guys, because there's so much. On the morning of March 9th, 2000, Leah talked on the phone with Cara about her uncertain future plans. The conversation ended with the understanding that the two would see each other soon. Later in the early afternoon, Roberts and her roommate, Nicole, agreed to do some babysitting together the next day. Nicole left for work and returned later, at which point she noticed that Roberts and her white 1993 Jeep Cherokee were missing because Roberts had not maintained a consistent schedule since she dropped out of school. Nicole was not initially concerned about Roberts' disappearance. The next day, Roberts missed the babysitting appointment. By the end of March 11th, Roberts was still absent, and her friends and family had been attempting to contact her. On March 13th, Cara reported Leah missing to the Durham police. Right, now we're getting into the investigation. On March 14th, Robert's sister, Cara, and roommate Nicole searched Robert's room. Many of Robert's clothes and her kitten B were missing. Cara and Nicole also found a note reading, "I'm not suicidal, I'm the opposite." That's the note that you're seeing here. I'll read it fully after I get done reading. That method, Jack Kerouac, and included a drawing of the Cheshire Cat's grin. Along with the note, Cara and Nicole found a bundle of cash totaling I always have trouble with this word. Approximately a month's worth of Robert's share of rent and expenses. Since Cara still had power of attorney over Robert's bank accounts, she was able to access her sister's financial records. Cara discovered that Roberts had withdrawn several $1,000s on the afternoon of March 9th, and that her debit card had been used to pay for a motel room near Memphis, Tennessee. Later transactions were purchased of gas or food, their location suggesting that Roberts was traveling west along Interstate 40, then north on Interstate 5 after she reached 140's western end in California. The last activity of Robert's bank accounts was a gas purchase shortly after midnight on the morning of March 13th in Brooks, Oregon. Police later recovered security camera footage from the gas station, which showed her alone and apparently in good condition, although several times she peered out into the parking lot while waiting for her transaction to be completed. Now, I'm gonna say something before we continue on. Now, that could be her just checking on her cat. It was a kitten. Or there was somebody there that made her feel uncomfortable. It was 2000. Technology wasn't as good yet, and cameras couldn't reach as far as they can today. So we don't know, but I've heard the cat, she's looking to check on her cat, and those are two theories. We just don't know. Early on the morning of March 18th, 2000, in Washington State, a couple jogging along Canyon Creek Road, a side route of the Mount Baker Highway, noticed articles of clothing at the side of the road next to a slight curve at the top of a slope. Some pieces of clothing had been tied to the trees and branches at the roadside, in the woods below at the bottom of a steep embankment. The couple discovered Robert's severely damaged Jeep and called the police. Roberts was not present at the scene. Based on the path that the car had taken through the trees and the extent of the damage to the vehicle, investigators from the Washington State Patrol determined that the Jeep had been traveling at nearly 40 miles per hour, or 64 km/h, when it went off the road and down the slope. The contents of the vehicle were tossed around inside, with a multiple rollover. Investigators found no blood or other signs of injury to an occupant inside the vehicle, such as shatter of glass or stretching of the seatbelt. Investigators concluded that no one had been inside the Jeep when it crashed, suggesting that the accident may have been staged. Blankets and pillows were hung inside the windows of the Jeep, suggesting that it may have been used as shelter. After being wrecked, Robert's passport, checkbook, driver's license, clothes, guitar, CDs, and other belongings were found scattered in the surrounding woods. Bits of cat food and a small cat carrier were found in the vehicle, confirming that Roberts had taken B on the trip with her, although the cat has never been found. Valuables such as $2,500 in cash and jewelry were also left behind, suggesting that robbery had not been the reason for the accident. Yeah. Cara and Heath Roberts flew to Bellingham to assist investigators. They visited the crash site and with the assistance of the sheriff's office, created a flyer they posted around town in Bellingham. They also went into the local businesses to ask if business owners and customers had seen Leah. Among her belongings, her siblings found a box of mementos from the trip that established more clearly when Leah had arrived in the city, a ticket stub from a March 13th showing of American Beauty at the theaters in Bellingham Bellis Fair shopping mall. This ticket suggested that Leah may have spent a few hours in the city after arriving at the beginning of the day following the 5 to 6 hour drive from where she had bought gas in Oregon. Near the theater was the mall's only sit-down restaurant where Heath and Cara believed that Leah might have gone for a meal. In the restaurant, police interviews with 2 customers yielded information about Leah. Both men indicated that they had met Leah in the restaurant on March 13th, where they had sat on each side of her at the restaurant's counter. The men recalled talking with Leah about Kerouac and her planned road trip. One of the men claimed that Leah had left with a third, whom he heard her call Barry, and provided a description for a police sketch, which is down below in this collage, of the man. However, neither of the other men nor any other customer who had been in the restaurant at the time could corroborate the third man's existence. Now, the third man may not exist. It may have been the second man who was a mechanic and now lives in Canada. We're going to get into the theories soon, guys. Oh, man. A few days after the Jeep was discovered, a man called the Whitcomb County Sheriff's Office to report a sighting. He claimed that his wife had seen Roberts disoriented and confused wandering around a gas station in Everett, closer to Seattle. After disclosing this information, he seemed to panic and hung up before identifying himself, which is kind of suspicious in my opinion. Police nevertheless consider the tip incredible. For 2 weeks in April 2000, police searched for Roberts near her Jeep's crash site. Dogs trained to sniff for corpses, metal detectors that could find the metal rod in her leg, and helicopters were used in the search, but no new evidence was discovered. Investigators continued to examine the Jeep found by the FBI, who had become involved because Robert's Jeep had been found on federal land. They found her mother's engagement ring, which Leah would never take off. That's me, not Wikipedia, because that was from her mom, which Roberts wore consistently under a floor mat inside the vehicle. Robert's friends in North Carolina said that she treasured the ring for the connection it offered to her late mother, and that she would never have taken it off voluntarily. See, after this discovery, the investigation stalled. So that gives you a little bit of clue right there. She could have taken it off because she had amnesia, or she took it off because she knew that she would no longer be alive to see her family and friends again, and that was a clue that, hey, something's not right here. But again, we don't know. We don't know. Hopefully we'll know one day. In 2006, Mark Joseph of the Whitcomb County Sheriff's Office, the detective who had originally investigated the case, passed his files onto 2 younger detectives. While reviewing the case, one of them noticed that the car and its contents had not been fully processed for evidence when it was originally brought in. After deciding to re-examine the vehicle, investigators opened the Jeep's hood and found that a wire had been cut, allowing the car to accelerate without anyone having depressed the gas pedal. Okay. I would say have pushed the gas pedal, but okay. The discovery confirmed early suspicions that no one had been in the car when it left the road, and thus It had been purposely wrecked. The detective also found a fingerprint under the hood of the Jeep and male DNA on an article of Robert's clothing. These new leads led investigators back to the man who had claimed Roberts left the Bellis Fair restaurant with a third man called Barry. As no one could corroborate this witness's statements, police fingerprinted and DNA tested him to rule out his involvement in her disappearance. The witness's fingerprint did not match the one discovered under the hood of the Jeep, but the result of the DNA sample has not been disclosed. So, the police does withhold information, so don't really know. He could be innocent. He could not be. But allegedly, he could be an innocent man, but his statement on Reddit many years ago, I don't know if it's still there, said, I had nothing to do with this. I want the police to destroy my DNA. Why? Got something to hide, sir? That's a little fishy. But yeah, that's one of the, don't know if it was actually him, but, cause you know how Reddit is, but, I mean, if it is him, that's very fishy, in my opinion. That's just, but, allegedly, he's innocent. Don't come after me. I don't have money. Seriously. In 2001, the Lifetime television series Unsolved Mysteries ran a segment on the case that granted some new tips. For investigators, reports that Roberts had been sighted elsewhere in the U.S., but nothing that proved incredible. Okay. I didn't know that part. I'm not disclosing my town in Alabama, but we have a Lowe's, and there's this lady who looks a lot like Leah. I don't know if it's a cousin or if it's Cara. I never read her name tag, but if it was Cara, she would have said, "That's my sister." But, this girl looks a lot like Leah. I've confronted her nicely and asked, like, no. But the thing is, she kind of smiled a bit, which was kind of weird, in my opinion. I kind of remember her smiling a bit. I don't know. I don't want to say anything, because she said it's not her, but she could be lying. Excuse me, I needed a drink. But, yeah, that was Wikipedia. Yeah, it's, the Facebook group is called Bring Home Leah Roberts. Okay, here's the official report from Whitcomb County. This is the official police report. I'm on the Whitcomb County website, Washington. Whitcomb County, Washington website. Man, those mountains. Alright, let's see if it gives us any new information. Let's see. Her small kitten. Okay, B was a kitten. So we don't know what happened to B. Did she go off on her own? Sad to say, get killed by other animals? Did someone adopt her? Did someone bring her to a pet store or a vet? We just don't know. That's the weird thing. But there has been no reports of B being at a vet, or, so is Leah out there? I don't think B would be alive any longer, but, it's So weird. But yeah. But yeah. Okay, well, it didn't say anything new. What does Unsolved Mysteries have to say? Okay. Alright, let's see. I'm seeing. Okay. Okay, here's something new. Susie Smith was a friend of Leah's. Leah is just, and this is what Susie said about Leah. Leah is just a very awesome person. Everybody that meets her likes her. Very personable, great smile, but you know she was kind of private also. Leah also liked to play soccer. Let's see. I think that all of those things together, this is the same person, I think. No, this is her sister. Events deeply affected his... Oh, this is Heath. Okay. When Leah was in her early 20s, her mother died unexpectedly. Then Leah was in a near-fatal accident. I already said that. And finally, after a long illness, her father died. Leah's brother Heath thinks these events deeply affected his sister. And this is what Heath says. I think that all of those things together had the conclusive effect on making Leah even more introspective and probably more aware that although she didn't know what she wanted to do, I think she was unhappy that she wasn't achieving it. Leah found comfort in the writings of Jack Kerouac, the Beat Generation author, who wrote about the free-spirited road trips he took across America. Leah's favorite was called The Dharma Bums, which I'm reading. It's a story that encourages the reader to leave behind the materialism of modern life. Part of the book takes place at a forest fire lookout on Desolation Peak, near Mount Baker in Washington State. Another of Leah's friends, Janine, confirmed that Leah had mentioned the location to her. This is Janine. From the last conversation that we had, we were talking about Dharma Bums and about how Kerouac was up on Desolation Peak, just taking in all the beauty around him. So Leah wanted to go to this place, and she did. And she drove all night. It appears that Leah Roberts secretly decided to turn her dream into reality. Just 3 months before she was to graduate from college, she packed up most of her cherished belongings and her cat Bee and took off for Desolation Peak, 3,000 miles across the country. Leah's family and friends filed a missing persons report and checked bank records for activity on her account. She had made several cash withdrawals. Tracing a route towards the west coast, it took her only 3 days to get to Oregon. Dang. Leah's sister Cara decided to see what she could find at her sister's house. On Leah's dresser, Cara discovered a cryptic note. Leah's note said, "I'm not suicidal, I'm the opposite. Remember Jack Kerouac." And that might be part of her trip. This is what Kevin McFadden said, the sergeant at the time. With the speed that the vehicle was traveling and the amount of damage to the vehicle, you would anticipate some type of injury to the person. Instead, at least some type of evidence to indicate contact damage that the person had been inside the vehicle, but she wasn't. Okay, let's see. I think this is Sergeant McFadden again. We brought in dogs and brought in search and rescue and did complete grid search. up and down the road, but they weren't able to find any indication that anybody had left the vehicle. Let's see. There's been several theories. McFadden again. You can't rule out foul play when you don't see somebody for over a year, but there's no evidence to indicate that has happened. We did process the vehicle for typical evidence, hairs and fibers and blood, but there was nothing to indicate that happened. McFadden again. I can understand Leah's... Wait a minute. Jack Kerouac. Okay, no, this is Kara. Or perhaps Leah was inspired by her favorite author, Jack Kerouac, and left her former life behind. In one final dramatic gesture, Leah's sister doesn't think so. Here's Kara. I can understand Leah's needing to get away and find some peace within herself, but considering the loss that our families experienced, it's difficult for me to think that she would leave us open for another loss like that. But yeah. Let's see. Leah's car. Okay. But yeah, Kara thought she would hear from Leah on her birthday, but she didn't. Okay. Oh, we got the Doe Network and the Charlie Project. Okay, now I'm just seeing if there's anything else I have missed. Help support the Charlie Project. I wish I could. Clothing. I already... let's see. I'm just looking. Okay, there is something new. Roberts had a beauty mark above her upper corner of her right lip. Her ears are pierced and she has dimples. Roberts is a vegetarian and she smokes cigarettes. She has a strong southern accent and speaks fluent Spanish. So, there's something new. But yeah, I like seeing trying to get everything involved. Okay. The Doe Network. Let's see if we have anything in the Doe Network. Dental's not available. No fingerprints. The Whitcomb County people, hello, have the DNA. And you can always ask Kara or Heath. But yeah. Okay. Let's get into the theories. Let me go to Reddit. Where's my Reddit? I'm not a part of Reddit, but I've been here wondering things for many, many years. I'm not signing into Reddit. Thank you, people. I'm not opening Wikipedia. Let's see. I think someone put, this is new. Someone put 10 months ago, I think she's within a few miles of the car, like Alana Turner was, and like people think Mara Murray is. That's a possibility. Let's see. Okay, there was a possible body found, but it was proven that it was male and not Leah. People think that Leah is, what's that word? I can't think of that word. I cannot think of that word right now, but they thought that she had, a hermaphrodite. Alright. Some theory said that she could be a hermaphrodite, and that's why they can't identify her, but apparently the body was not hers, and I'm like, really? A body was already found near the car with a metal rod in the leg where Leah had hers. The rod was manufactured this same month. Leah's was. If I recall correctly, in my eyes, this case is solved, although law enforcement has yet to identify the body as hers. It's too coincidental for it not to be her. there needs to be more push for law enforcement. But it was found out to be a male, not Leah. But the barcode for the metal rod was in North Carolina. It was really weird. But they proved that it was a man. And also, people, I'm sure Cara and Heath would have told you if Leah had that condition. But yeah, people. Okay. Here's another one. Okay. Had this to share about Leah's case, and the rod was shared approximately 4 years ago. Sorry, it's an awkward share on mobile, and I cannot find the link correctly. In 2014, a mummified body was found near where Leah's Roberts disappeared. With one very interesting detail. Someone posted about Leah Roberts again, and it reminded me of this. The mummified body was found in 2014. Had a rod in its right femur. See, this is weird. Just like Leah. The lot was traced and it was shipped in the fall of 1998 when Leah Roberts had her surgeries. This is weird. The catch, the mummified body was identified as a male and with an age range between 35 and 55. The height is 5'5" and Leah was 5'6". Was this a mistake in identifying the body? Wrong gender? There have been no updates of this, and the NamUs site no longer lists the metal rod. So, there's just a lot of theories here. That body has to be Leah. Someone made a mistake in gender. Agreed. Do you think, as one article suggests, a male had somehow made contact with the rod for it to have male DNA on it, like touch DNA somehow? Get how with the intersection surgery? Oh, see, people, I'm sure, they would have said something. Her siblings. This doe apparently doesn't even have a NamUs profile anymore. His NamUs profile was removed in or before April 22 and has not been established, indicating he was identified. If the metal rod was no longer listed while the page was still up, then this really is confusing. Well, I think it may not be here anymore, but I think it was identified not being Leah. But yeah, it's just sad. This case just really gets to me. I'm going to read you the letters. The letter, but there's two. Nicole. This is in Leah's writing. This is what Leah said. Nicole. This is to cover bills for while I am gone. Remember, everyone is together in thoughts and prayers, and time passes quickly. Have faith in me, yourself, everyone. Everyone. I'm going to try and read this. Help Steph. Little house with sister and the children. I can't read that. That's kind of blurry. I don't know what that means. April 23rd on the road. No, I am not suicidal. I'm the opposite. Remember Jack Kerouac. And on here they stated that Jack Kerouac's name was spelled. What I just read from you is on the collage. Here's the second one, but it's the same note, but it says, no, I am not suicidal. I am the opposite. Remember Jack Kerouac, but Kerouac is misspelled. But yeah, it's just really weird. Also, the berry. There's a new theory somebody has stated is that, there's a couple of theories. We'll do the berry one first. that the guy who drew Barry, you see the picture. You see the picture of Barry, right in here. It's next to the Cheshire Cat smile. Looks like Jack Kerouac, somebody pointed out. And then I'm like, because I'm always on top of this. If something new happens, I know, because I am studying this case so much. I mean, I just feel like a kinship with Leah, you know. And, so, I mean, it does. Get a picture of Barry and get a picture of Jack Kerouac and look at the pictures. I mean, it does. It's kind of weird. And I did let the Facebook group know that somebody came up with this theory, and I'm like, this is just so weird. But you know, okay, so the guy who drew Barry was a mechanic in Canada, but they couldn't. But the DNA of the what they found in the car, outside the car, was not his. But there was male DNA found on his jeans. So what about that? What about that? I'm guessing it didn't match, or the Whitcomb County Sheriff's Office is holding information because they're trying to figure out, did he do it? Also, there may not be enough evidence to convict this person, and he's innocent until proven guilty. I hit my hand on my tablet, on my iPad. But what do you think happened to Leah? And if Leah's sister or brother or any other family and friends are listening, I'm praying for you guys. I'm always praying for Leah to be found. If you want to share any more information, please do so. I wish I had the funds to go out there and look for myself, because we're all human. Someone could have missed something, but it's just really weird. And another theory is, somebody said, oh, there's this woman in Hawaii that looks a lot like Leah. There's a picture of it on somewhere. I couldn't find it. And, I mean, kinda, but not close enough. I wonder if anyone has done an age progression on Leah. Let's see. I'm Googling that right now. Age pro. Let's see. Okay, you're gonna make me use both hands. Age progression. Age pro. Age pro. Okay. Google. Alrighty, looking for an age progression photo. I don't think there is one. Whoa. No. Why is there not an age progression photo, Aaliyah? Why is there not an age progression photo, Aaliyah? Okay, there needs to be an age progression photo, Aaliyah. Okay, we need that's gonna be the next video I do. I'm gonna question that right now. Why is there not an age progression photo of Leah? I'm gonna, we need that. Even if she's no longer with us, we need that, just in case, you know, because she would be like in her late 40s, I believe. Let's see. Give me that. Don't. What? No, that's not about Leah. Oh, come on. Okay. Let's see. 76. So, yeah, 40s. Calculator. Let's see. I'm not used to using this tablet. Okay. Okay, Leah would be 49 years old. We need an age progression. She wouldn't, if she was alive and well, she would not be looking like these photos right here. Okay, we need an age progression. Okay, I'm gonna seriously push that in the next video. So, I'm fixing to make another video. So, yeah. Ow. I want to believe, because I'm a positive person, I want to believe that she's out there living her best life. You know? But also, another part of me is like, she's no longer with us. And sometimes the right answer is the simplest one. You know? What if this guy who drew Barry, aka very similar to Jack Kerouac here, what if he did something and he had buddies? This is my own theory. What if he did something and he had friends? You know, he had friends like, hey, I got this girl. She's in a cave somewhere or somewhere nearby the Jeep. They took the cat. I mean, that's possible. Now, there's other people who have covered Leah's case on YouTube. And then you get the people who are the psychics and mediums, which I'm a Christian, so I don't believe in that. And there's like, someone did a spirit box of Leah. I'm like, I wonder if Cara and Keith have seen that video and they could say, no, that ain't Leah. That sounds nothing like a Leah. You know. But we don't know. We don't know. We can only hope and pray. But thank you all for joining me. Please keep Leah in your thoughts and prayers. Pray for Cara and Heath and her friends. Hopefully we can find what happened to Leah in our lifetime. She deserves to be found. She's a fellow human being. And there's also been suggestions that Israel Key's a serial killer. But, I mean, just don't know. Leah is probably, if she's alive, she's somewhere in a secluded area living her life. Or she has amnesia, or somebody did something. But like I said, if you know something, say something, and I'll have all the information you need down below in my references if you want to look at them yourself. Thank you all for watching, listening, and I don't know when the next case will be that we'll look into. I know who it is. The next case we're going to look into is Asha Degree. But, don't know when I'm going to film that. Because, Leah needs to be found. All these people need to be found. And I'm going to be throwing up old cases, rewatching Robert Stack Unsolved Mysteries. Because these missing people need to be in the spotlight. I love when there's a missing person case that has been solved. I love that. That's like a win, even though they're no longer with us or they are with us. It's a win. That family knows what happened to their family member. But yeah, so be kind. I'll get that information for you. Stay safe out there. Bye. God bless.